video is going to be about a subject that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now, and I've just been waiting for the time when I really felt to make it. But basically, I'm going to be speaking about channeling accurately, channeling falsely, and also how a channel can become more clear, and why so many channelings are false, or why so many channelers are channeling false material, or they're channeling like a mixture of both. And firstly, what I want to say is that I do not exclude myself from being able to channel something false. And I'll say too that that is a difference between me that I have noticed between myself and a lot of the channels out there. A lot of channels, they have this kind of light worker view which we talked about in one of our videos, how light can be used to mask negativity. We were talking about how a person can be feeling really negatively and they'll put this smile on their face because they feel like, well, I'm a new ager or a light worker, I'm spiritual, so I'm supposed to be smiling and bubbly and happy all the time. I'm not supposed to experience any negativity. But that's part of our human experience. And so it's okay to experience negativity. But the thing is that we do experience negativity here. And so it really has to be admitted. It's something that people have to come forward about within their own selves. They have to be able and willing to admit that there are things there that are negative. You know, we talk about in our videos a lot of times that we really don't need to eat, we don't need to sleep, we don't need to age, we don't need to die. So why are humans experiencing those things? It is because of these negative beliefs that we hold. But the thing about these negative beliefs is that they can talk to you. And this isn't just an ego thing. This isn't just like a lower part of yourself. In fact, it's not yourself. And this is something that I have learned, and this is something that the Council for the Assistance to Earth has also talked to me and spoken to me about for years now, which is thought forms. And we've gotten to this, we've talked about this in other videos. I'm only going to mention it slightly here, but it's basically this concept that when you have a thought and it's continuous, you're dwelling on it. You know, we've learned in Law of Attraction, you manifest something physical, but you also manifest something energetic. You manifest a consciousness, is what the Council teaches. So if I am dwelling on fear, I have this really fearful thought and this really fearful emotion that I'm holding on to for a few minutes, I end up manifesting an actual being, a consciousness. So I've dwelled on fear. I've dwelled on fear and I've created conscious fear. So let's just have this for instance here, which is also very true. But in this for instance, we're just going to pretend here you are and you are yourself. And now you have all of these other voices around you that you've created. And most of them were created when you were feeling something negative. Okay, so we have all these negative voices around us, right? Now we also have these positive guides. Now I'm going to channel my positive guides, okay? But these other voices that I've created are very familiar to me. And so when I tap into what I think is my guide, I might be tapping into one of these other voices. Now, the other thing that can happen is maybe I'm tapping into my guide, and then just for a second, one of these other voices gets through, or they get in with a sentence or maybe a paragraph, and then it goes back to the guide. So There can be a whole lot of good information in channeling. There can also be a whole lot of false junk. And that's why we hear about these false promises, like 2012, it's going to be this great, grandiose thing. A lot of channelers were saying that. And just a whole lot of promises on a continuous basis that don't even have to do with 2012. They have to do with the aliens arriving. The aliens are going to get here on this date. It doesn't happen. Okay, the aliens are going to get here on this date. And they were just delayed because of this. That's why they didn't come on that date. But don't worry, no worries. We're going to come on this date. And this is really the date when we'll get to come. But then that date comes along, and now everybody's wondering, where the heck are the aliens? Why haven't they come yet? They haven't been coming on these dates. The reason is because this channel, at least in that moment, was not channeling the aliens that have possibly been speaking through this person. They were channeling a thought form. They were channeling another voice that was spewing out this stuff that the person was expecting. And so the person hears something that feels like a clear or a positive vibration because it's a vibration that they're very used to. But obviously, they are not channeling something positive when nothing happens on these dates that they're channeling about. And I actually have an opening now to speak about this. Like I said, I was waiting for when I really felt to. And one of the things that made me feel that I should speak about this now was that recently there was a channel, and her name is Catherine E. May, and she was the voice of Mother, Father, God, and also some ascended masters. And she actually came out with a letter where she was announcing that she was not going to be channeling them anymore, and she was not going to be posting their messages on her blog anymore. And this was because she was one of those channels that was constantly posting about, you know, new waves of energy coming in, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, or the aliens are going to arrive on this date, and all these things are going to happen when the aliens arrive, and you need to prepare yourself in all of these ways for when the aliens arrive. And so she came out with this letter where, like I said, she said she was going to stop channeling them and not post their messages anymore. But what really struck me about this letter that she wrote was that all throughout this letter, she was talking about them. She was talking about the ascended masters, and she was basically saying that Saint Germain and Jesus were lying to us. She actually came out in this letter saying that these higher dimensional beings, in some ways, maybe they don't have our best of intentions. That would make them a lower dimensional being, not a higher dimensional being. And so I am really glad that she did actually come forward. And she said, you know what, there's something false about this, and I'm not going to channel this anymore. That took a lot of bravery on her part. So I'm not trying to be overly negative or put blame over this person or any channel who's channeling something negative. But what I am saying is, no, it's not these beings out here. It's not these higher dimensional beings coming in with false information or lying to us, or, like she said, presenting a carrot without a prize, or just dragging us along with all these promises. No, we're channeling something that is not what we're thinking it is, and this has to do with something on our part. So another teaching of the Council for the Assistance to Earth, besides just there being thought forms, another teaching is that you have your reality. They call it the reality, and it is the real you. And some people would refer to this as the higher self. The Council refers to this as the reality, that it's not something on a higher plane out here, that it's actually very, very, very deep within you, and it hasn't been touched by any of these beliefs that we have, that we've been conditioned and programmed to have since birth of being here on earth. And they teach that you must uncover the reality. You have to look at all these beliefs one at a time, and you have to be willing to go into these deep and negative places within yourself, to look at these deep beliefs that you are holding, and to come more and more and more into alignment with the reality. And as you come more into alignment with the reality, you are a clearer person. You know who you are. And even things like breatharianism, like we've talked about on our channel, you don't need outside sources. When the source within you becomes defined, when it becomes more and more clear to you, where it is tangible, and there aren't these other beliefs and voices blocking it. So as a channel, I have learned that there are some things that I really, really have to do. There are some ways that I have to take care of myself in order to deliver high messages. The thing is, if you are on a lower vibration, then it is easier for you to channel things on a lower vibration. And so you have to make yourself clear. There are a lot of channelers out there who do some very low things. There are channelers who smoke, and channelers who drink, coffee and soda all the time, or who eat really heavy cooked foods all the time. So as a channel, I have found that I have to keep myself very high physically as well. I cannot have certain bad habits that a lot of people have. I can't have them. Because I want to be in a higher vibration to bring in something that is higher. And so I found that I have to be very disciplined in a lot of ways. Your physical environment around you needs to be cleaner. What you are taking in, it could be through food, it could be through even lotions or shampoo, toothpaste, all of these things. It needs to be cleaner. It can't contain all of these chemicals and all of this junk, because you don't want to channel junk. And that's the thing. That's your responsibility as a channel, if you are one, and you're bringing out information that other people are going to hear and read, then that is really your responsibility to bring in a clear message and to work towards that, to keep working towards getting clearer and clearer and clearer. If there was another channel, if there were other channels that I found that I resonated with, who were also saying that they do these things, that they continually cleanse themselves, and not only in a physical way, but thought forms, and they're cleansing themselves emotionally and mentally of beliefs that they have, then I would read those channelings, definitely. But for the most part, I don't read channelings, which is odd that I'm saying that, since I am a channel, but that's the reason, because most channels that I've come into contact with just think they don't really have to do anything. They're just bringing this message in, and it's coming out just fine, intact, and natural, the way that it's supposed to be. But if that's true, then why does so much of the information come in falsely? And so as channels, we really have to look at that. Anytime I've channeled something falsely in my life, or at any time, I didn't blame my guides. I instantly went to myself. I realized, wow, this is a belief I have I need to clear. And then I got clear on it, and I channeled better. And I've been channeling for over 10 years now, and I keep getting better and better and better. I even say this on my website in the About section. It says, here are some of the changes between when I was channeling in 2010 and that information that came out, and the information coming out now. It's coming out in a clearer and more evolved way. And this is because as I clear myself and I step into a higher vibration more, I am better able to be a channel for higher information. And I'm better able to be guided and directed in my own life. And I'm better able to connect with the Council for the Assistance to Earth's energy.